wheatstone bridge R1 R2 R3 R4 R5 R5 को सर्किट से निकाल देना है। R1 अपॉन R2 इज इक्वल टू R3 अपॉन R4। दिस इज नॉट wheatstone bridge। Kirchhoff's junctions law, KCL I1 I2 I3 then release I4 I5 at junctions. Total incoming current is equal to total outgoing current. I1 plus I2 plus I3 is equal to I4 plus I5. KCL is based on the charge conservations. Kirchhoff's voltage law, KVL or loop law, summations of potential difference of all the circuit element in closed loop is 0. E3 minus IR1 minus E1 minus IR2 minus E2 minus IR3 is equal to 0. Grouping of cell is known as battery. Series grouping, I is equal to E equivalent upon R plus R equivalent identical cell. E equivalent is equal to NE, R equivalent is equal to NR. I is equal to E equivalent upon R plus R equivalent is equal to NE upon R plus NR. If R is greater than NR, R is greater than NR, then I is equal to NE upon R. Series grouping is beneficial if R is smaller than NR, then I is equal to E upon R. Series grouping is not beneficial if cells are not identical. I is equal to E equivalent upon R plus R equivalent. E equivalent is equal to E1 plus E2 plus as En. R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 plus Rn. Parallel grouping, identical cells, I is equal to E equivalent upon R plus R equivalent. I is equal to E upon R plus R upon N. I is equal to E upon R plus R upon N. E equivalent is equal to E. R equivalent is equal to R upon N. If R is greater than R upon N, then I is equal to E upon R. Parallel grouping is not beneficial if R is smaller than R upon N, then I is equal to NE upon R. Parallel grouping is beneficial. Parallel grouping, not identical cells, I is equal to E equivalent upon R plus R equivalent. E equivalent is equal to E1 upon R1 plus E2 upon R2 plus En upon Rn upon 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon Rn. 1 upon R equivalent is equal to 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2 plus 1 upon Rn. In one cell is ideal in parallel grouping. I is equal to E2 upon R. I is equal to E equivalent upon R plus R equivalent. Comparing 1 and 2, C equivalent is equal to E2 is equal to EMF of ideal cells. R equivalent is equal to 0. Mixing grouping, all cells are identical. KVL, I is equal to NE upon R plus NR upon M. Total number of cell is equal to M into N. I is equal to E equivalent upon R plus R equivalent. Conditions for maximum power drawn by external resistance R is equal to R equivalent is equal to NR upon M. Equivalent power, P equivalent is equal to V square upon R equivalent. R equivalent is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. V square upon P equivalent is equal to V square upon P1 plus V square upon P2. plus v square upon p3. 1 upon p equivalent is equal to 1 upon p1 plus 1 upon p2 plus 1 upon p3 plus as so on, where p1 p2 p3 as power related at the same voltage. P equivalent power consumed by the series combinations. T equivalent t1 plus t2 plus t3. Parallel combinations. P equivalent is equal to v square upon r equivalent. P equivalent is equal to p1 plus p2 plus p3, where p1 p2 p3 are the power rate at the same voltage v. H is equal to p1 t1 is equal to p2 t2 is equal to p3 t3. P equivalent T equivalent 1 upon T equivalent is equal to 1 upon t1 plus 1 upon t2 plus 1 upon t3. In parallel combinations, R equivalent is smaller than smallest of R1, R2, R3. R1, R2, R3, R equivalent